Hey people, thank you so much. Welcome back. And today we will understand about what is the CTQ and CTX. So CTQ stand for critical to quality. CTX stand for critical to X. And X can be any metric of your process which has a direct impact on your Y variable. So basically CTX or CTQ mainly we consider as an X variable, input variable that is direct impact on your Y variable. We will understand with an example. Let's first understand why we call CTQ, because we all remember that this was started by Motorola long back 1986. That's Six Sigma. Motorola has their three primary objective at that time. They were trying to reduce the cost of operation. They were trying to reduce the timeline to launch a product, and they were focusing on the quality. Like as we talk to anyone, a simple way, we just use the some kind of acronym or the abbreviation. Similar way, instead of asking these people to each other, like as are you working on the quality project, you are working on the TAT reduction project, or you are working on the cost reduction project, they used to call that what is your CTQ for the project. Later, Motorola realized, even the GE added a lot into this, that not only these three metrics we are following so many metrics. Like as they are working for the defect reduction, this can be called as in CTD. They are working for the TAT reduction, that can be called as in CTT. They are working for the let's say timeline reduction, CTT. They are working, let's say, for any other metric, whatever you consider: cost reduction, productivity improvement, quality improvement, timeline improvement, delivery improvement, employee satisfaction, safety, morale, whatever. So all those things, instead of calling them CTQ, these three things will not fit: cost, timeline, and quality. And we started calling this as in CTX. So what is the CTX? CTX is, you remember, there is a transfer equation which I explained in my last session. Y is equal to f of x. So this x variable, which has a direct impact on your y variable, in case you are trying to improve your y variable, we'll take an example in a moment, then what should be the best settings of your x variable, which has a direct relationship or statistically proven relationship on the y variable, is called your CTQ. Example, let's understand. Last example I was telling, suppose today your head of the business comes and person is telling that my ESAT is low. So you understand as a black belt, you cannot improve the employee satisfaction directly. You have to do something for that. First, you have to understand this is your voice of business, or this is your practical problem, which you are learning in the define stage, to convert this into the statistical problem. In define stage itself, you have to convert this into the statistical problem. So how do we convert this practical problem into the statistical problem? You need to understand what is the employee satisfaction means. So the definition of employee satisfaction is, let's say, well-being of employees within the organization. What is the scale you are using to measure the well-being of the employee? Maybe you are using scale 1 to 8. What is the minimum target or the minimum expectation? Suppose 5. What is your current average or current performance? Assuming current average of your process or the employee satisfaction score is, let's say, 3.25. I'm using the calculation which I used in the last session. So how much is the gap? Gap is 5 minus 3.25. So you have to improve this 1.75 from 3.25 to meet the 5 target, which means how much is the improvement you have to do in the process? You have to do 1.75 over 3.25, which is around 53.8% improvement you are supposed to do. That's how we convert this into the statistical problem. So this is still, I am measuring my voice of business, right? I'm not reaching to the CTQ. Now from this, I have to find out, maybe you create cause and effect diagram or you use the data stratification, that from where the employee satisfaction is coming. Assuming I'm using that one of the 7QC tool, which is called as in data stratification. Data stratification means you are subgrouping your data into the multiple categories. Example, if I take your employee satisfaction score, which is coming 5, was 3.25 on an average, and employee satisfaction is coming from the multiple function or department, and those functions are like, let's say, assuming it's a production, it is quality, it is supply, it is, let's say, HR, maybe it is admin. Just stopping here. Production wise, employee satisfaction, where the minimum target is 5, you are already at 5.5. Quality wise, maybe you are working as 5.9. Supplies wise, you are at 6.1. HR wise, let's say 2.3. And admin wise, you are at 5.4. Looking at these number, if I try and focus at a place where my target is 5, and I see couple of values are already greater than 5, except one function, which is the HR. So what I will be doing, instead of focusing on everything, I will focus only on HR. So this is my level 1 data stratification, that I address, or I'm supposed to address only HR. Even when you go into the HR, you have the multiple function or sub functions in HR. Let's say they are doing the recruitment. They are doing the engagement activity. They are into training and development. They are processing the payroll and couple of other things they do. And looking at this score from the HR side, I found recruitment wise, they are good at maybe 6.1. Engagement is very good for the organization, 5.5. Training and development, employees are really happy with that, 7.2. But when you look for the payroll, the actual feedback is coming as in 2.5. I'm just assuming this number, don't take exactly. I'm just to give you an example, I'm making these scenarios. Now, looking at this data, should I focus on everything again in the HR? Probably no. I should be focusing only on the payroll. So this was my level 1 data stratification. This is my level 2 data stratification. And when we talk about the payroll, in the payroll itself, you do many activities. Suppose you do the salary credit. Then maybe you are doing processing the claims. You are clearing the backlog like as area in case any payment is pending. You are doing the calculation of loan in case customer has taken or employee has taken, and maybe you are processing the pay slip. This is on my level 3 data stratification, and I found in the level 3 data stratification, salary is always on time. There is no issue. Even I am receiving my salary before time only. So I'm really happy. Whatever the claims I am claiming as a reimbursement or anything, I am getting all the payment on time. There is no delay. There is no delay in terms of any area of any past due payment, which is clearing with the pay slip, the month payroll. So I'm really, really happy with that. Loan and all, if I am taken, they are doing the calculation and all. When they are publishing the pay slip, they are perfectly calculating. So I'm happy with that as well. But after doing all these things, when it's come to the pay slip, I receive really, really late this. I should receive the pay slip with the salary, but I'm receiving the pay slip after 2 days or 3 days. So here is my feedback, which is really low. Now looking at this data, when I see, especially focus where I should do, so I found that pay slip is something I should be focusing. I look for, can I bifurcate it further, level 4 classification or stratification, I could not do. Then I will be contacting to the SME. SME is the payroll executive here. And I start doing the YY analysis. I ask, okay, Mr. SME, why the payslip is not released on time? The person is telling because there are too many defects while we are doing the calculation to release the payslip. Why there are too many defects? I have no answer for that. Why there are too many defects? Defects may be related to calculation, related to loan. Sometimes HR data is not matching with the admin. Sometimes offer is not matching with the payroll, what is entered in the SAP. Many a time your loan details are not matching what HR is providing. Many a time what claims you have done is not matching with the bill. So all these defects first we have to settle, then only we can release the correct payslip. We should not, or we don't want our employee to suffer because of this problem. So we are doing the payment credit or salary credit on time or before time, but we are doing the releasing the payslip after certain period of time once all the defects are corrected. So now, if you look from this that you started from the employee satisfaction as in well-being of employee. You reach well-being of employee coming from the different department. Then these department HR you further bifurcated into the recruitment engagement training level 2 data stratification. Then you did the level 3 data stratification and the payslip, and the payslip is coming or payslip you are not able to release because there are too many defects. So now these too many defects became your CTQ. And this is your another practical problem of the CTQ. You have the practical problem in the business, employee satisfaction score is low, which you converted into the statistical problem in the define stage. CTQ, as you already know, that we try and identify in the measure stage when we collect the data. Many times in the define phases, you may not have all the data collected. So when you collect the data and then you find it out. So like this, these days, we all have the data available in the SAP or other ERP system. So really need not to go for the data collection. You can just directly take a dump and you can do the data stratification. But this part generally comes in the measure phase. So now you have to identify or you have to write the statistical problem for the CTQ or in the measure phase. So practical problem is payslip. Assuming, let's say what is the payslip defect? First definition. Payslip defect is maybe any deviation from specification. You have a specification that the percent error, percent rate, maybe the pay as per the offer letter, as per the standard value should not be deviating. So any deviation from the specification is the defect. What is your scale? Payslip defect scale is always lower is better value because defect is always lower is better. And I'm targeting not more than, let's say, 2%. Defect should not be there. What is my average defect? Let's say average defect is assuming 2.65%. So how much is the gap I'm using? Gap I'm using is equal to 2.65 minus 2%, which is around 0.65% gap. So if I improve this gap, or basically I try to reduce the payslip defect from 2.65% to 2%, which is the gap I'm reducing 0.65%, this gap will be equal to how much? Current value is 2.65, denominator, gap is 0.65, numerator. So that will be around 25% nearly improvement I will be doing in my process. And this will become your measure phase problem statement or the CTQ that you have to reduce the payslip defect from 2.65 to 2%. We'll be developing a project charter on this, which you are going to learn in the next session. Till that time, take care and I'll see you in the next session.